Well, it was a nice, relaxing blowout win. It's what some people ask for. Ryan Leong and I are going to break down the third straight game that the Golden State Warriors have held their opponent to below 100 points. I don't know how much you could brag about this one. The Hornets might be the worst team in the NBA, but look, a win is a win. They're fending off the Rockets. Good times. It's Friday night. This is Locked On Warriors. Where's my open? There it is.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. It's where we're exclusively live. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by the official sportsbook of Locked On, and that's FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's a hell of a promo. $200 if your bet wins. That's simple. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. You can follow Ryan Leong. He covers the Warriors and other sports teams in the Bay Area for Associated Press Radio. Look, Ryan, they won. You're on the show, and the Warriors are winners. So whatever stigma was associated with you has been lifted, sir. And I'm stoked on that because the superstitions are ridiculous, but nonetheless, they're prevalent in sports. You can follow Ryan Leong on Twitter at Ryan Leong. It's his name. It's super easy. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, on Threads at Dog Wild. And intern Karl Bernal is going to join us later in the show with a new edition of Karl's Minute. Love the subject matter. So I'm looking forward to that. But Ryan, first things first, great to have you. To the audience, thanks for joining us. The Warriors win again, and we're going to cover the standings in just a moment because that is important. But for now, they're still holding on to the 10th seed. And in a game that was little sketchy close at the half. They only led this game by 5 points going into the half. They blow it open in the third quarter. Final score 115-97. Some staples of the Warriors coming through as expected. Also some young players rising to the occasion. Ryan, great to see you, man. How are you doing? And your immediate reaction to the Warriors winning another road game as they've been doing all season long.
Yeah, they needed this win. And I'm only wearing this real briefly just because I wanted to just, pimp an old school starter jacket. You can't get more old school, early 90s, late 80s than the Charlotte Hornets. Where is it? The Charlotte Hornet logo right there on the other side of the jacket. Anyway.
Right. And just to let people know, the reason why you're wearing a Hornets starter jacket, this is for the YouTube audience. If you're listening to the podcast, Ryan, for a brief moment, was wearing a Charlotte Hornets jacket. You are a collector of starter jackets. Is that correct?
Yep. Oh, yeah. I got about 30 or so. Yeah. Got the Warriors, too. I'll put that on in a second. I've worn it before, but just wanted to wear it just for fun real quick because when you think of the Charlotte Hornets, especially back in their heyday with Del Curry played with them, right? But, of course, Larry Johnson. Those are the Hornets that people remember. And I think and also the reason I kind of wore the jacket, too, is because I don't think this team has much of an identity anymore.
No, they don't. I mean, in all honesty, man, if we're going to talk about Charlotte real fast, I feel like their biggest identity is their color analyst, Del Curry. I don't know. You're right. I mean, they've got a lot of young talent. If LaMelo Ball ever actually plays instead of being injured, maybe they start forging an identity. I would never want Miles Bridges to be the identity of my team, just my humble opinion. But so until that kid, the number 2 pick, I'm drawing a brain farting on his name, Brandon Miller. Thank you. Until Brandon Miller emerges, and I think that's going to happen at some point. You're right. The Hornets do not have an identity. I thought the only player that really signified an identity as a semblance of someone that represents, positivity on the basketball court, it was Davis Bertans, who was cooking the Warriors briefly in this game. The Warriors went into the half leading just by 5 points, 50-45, and it was largely because of Bertans just cooking the Warriors. In the first half, he was 4 of 6 from the field. All of those shots were 3-point attempts. He had 14 points. Again, just a 5-point game at the half. But then, if there's a coach out there who has even less sense of his roster than Steve Kerr in terms of personnel decisions, it is the head coach of the Charlotte Hornets. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. Do you remember it, Ryan?
Steve Clifford?
Steve Clifford, thank you.
Yeah.
And Clifford did not bring Bertans back into the game until about the 2:30 mark remaining of the third quarter. By that point, the Warriors were leading by 15, and the rest was history. Who stuck out to you in this game as positives? We can point to quite a few of them, Ryan. Stephen Curry had a fantastic game. Andrew Wiggins, for the first time all year, has scored 20-plus points in 2 straight games. I don't think it's a coincidence this coincided with Jonathan Kuminga being out for a second straight game because of knee soreness. I'm definitely going to talk about Trayce Jackson-Davis and Moses Moody in just a moment. I think they should be a large focus of the show. Who stuck out to you the most, though? Give us some players.
Yeah, I would say besides Curry being the obvious one, definitely Wiggins. I mean, Wiggins, like you said, scoring 20-plus points. He's really struggled this year to find any kind of consistency. So for him to have 20-plus in 2 straight games is definitely a positive. Trayce Jackson-Davis, also a solid game for him. Didn't shoot from the line, but 18 points and 9 of 13 shooting. So that's another good one. So you look at those numbers from him. Your guy Moses Moody had a solid game, and just under 25 minutes, he's got 15 points, plus 12 in the plus minus. So that's another positive contribution. So again, nothing really jumps out in the box score of this game, but the fact that the Warriors were able to get any kind of win at this point, I mean, they got to do whatever they can to hold off the Rockets. They only have a 1-game lead on these guys, and they're short of a 1-game lead at least because the Rockets have yet to start their game yet, but the Warriors, by virtue of winning, maintain at least a 1-game lead.
Correct. The lead is now up to 1.5 on the Rockets following the win today against the Hornets. The Houston Rockets, meanwhile, do they play today? Yeah, they do. They play later this afternoon or evening in just a moment. Tip-off is about to start. They're at Utah to take on the Jazz. So the Rockets are going for their 11th straight win. Another team that the Warriors are in contention with are the LA Lakers, who they currently trail, I believe, by a game and a half. And that lead is down to a game and a half because the Lakers lost earlier today to the Indiana Pacers, 109-90. So the 9th seed is still in play. The Warriors are fending off the Rockets for the 10th and final play-in position. The Warriors are now 5 games above 500. There's, I believe, only 11 games remaining in the season. Absolutely incredible. Before we get into some more of the nitty-gritty for this game tonight, Ryan, in your opinion, do the Rockets even have a shot, man? Are people making more of a big deal about this chase than they should be? Do you think they're a legitimate threat? What are your thoughts on the Rockets, man?
Well, yeah, I mean, they got it off to a really great streak. I mean, I'm not sure is that streak still active or is it finally ended? It was like an 8-game win streak or something like that.
It's at 10. It's at 10 and still going.
But I would. Oh yeah, I see it right here. Yeah, I'd say they're a serious threat. If you're winning 10 games in a row, yeah, I mean you're definitely catching fire at the right time. And the Warriors, again, only having that game and a half lead right now, they got to do whatever they can to try to at least stay ahead of these guys. So I would definitely think they're a serious contender at this point when you have a winning streak like that. Yeah. So and again, the association's changed so much now. It's a very different type of game now than what the NBA used to be. I just find that teams are so much streakier now than they used to be in years past.
Absolutely. And by the way, I do thank you very much to Eureka Dog for correcting me. There's only 9 games in the season. I don't know why I said 11. My math was wrong there. There's only 9 games left. We're getting down to it, man. This is insane. And what's been an absolutely incredible season in general for better and worse. One thing that really stuck out to me in this game, though, Ryan, was Trayce Jackson-Davis. The more I see him getting serious minutes, this is the second game in a row, if I'm not mistaken, where he's gotten 30-plus minutes. He got 35 last game, played fantastic, or 33. I can't remember exactly. I'm just spitballing there. But tonight, 30 minutes and 48 seconds. He leads the team in field goal percentage. That continued with a 9 of 13 performance from the field. Also grabbed 8 rebounds, was a plus 11 in net rating. The point is, he solves so many of this team's issues. I have no idea why it's taken this long for Steve Kerr to give him a real run when you see the impact that he brings on the court. He makes life easier for everyone else, both as a rim protector, for putting up easy buckets. There were a few possessions tonight I saw where he was getting his own offensive rebounds and just putting it back in. That's what someone with size gives you. What are your thoughts on Trayce Jackson-Davis, man? I want to see him getting serious run for the rest of the year, and I don't understand why it's taken this long for him to get serious minutes, man. Your thoughts on TJD?
Well, I think, again, we've spoken about this before. I think Kerr still plays his favorites, and it just takes time for some of these younger guys to really kind of make an impact, even though obviously TJD is making that impact. And again, for him to play 30 minutes tonight and score the 18 points, 8 rebounds, and again, the plus 11. I mean, he's had a solid game, so hopefully he can carry that on to the next game. They're going to San Antonio next. Is that right?
Correct. They play San Antonio on Easter Sunday in San Antonio before they come home for one game against the Mavericks, and then they're back on the road again. We'll talk about the schedule in just a moment. Joe brings up a good point. Ryan, I want you to answer this when we come back, but Joe in the chat writes that it might be better to play on the road in LA for the play-in game when you consider how successful the Warriors have been on the road this season. They're now 21-15 on the road. 10 games better than they were all of last season. That's a huge swing. But then on the other side of things, the Warriors are 18-19 at home. Inexplicable. Makes no damn sense. When we come back, Ryan, I want to hear your opinion on whether or not you think a take like what Joe just presented is facetious and you really don't want that game to be on the road, or if there's some truth to that. Like would the Warriors actually be better off playing that one game play-in LA at Crypto? I'll get your answer. We're going to play some sound. I got to give Moses Moody his love. He had certainly a breakout game in terms of his shooting slump ending tonight, but the kid can play, man. And he was part of that phenomenal draft class that Jalen Green was a part of, that Kuminga was a part of, that Şengün was a part of. So I would love to get your thoughts on the Warriors playing their playing game on the road and whether that's actually a better thing. And we'll talk about Moses Moody. Stephen Curry was a homecoming for him. A lot to discuss there. And I'm going to give Andrew Wiggins his props because for the first time all season, he looks like his old self. Let's give some love to some sponsors, though. And first up on the agenda is, let me get my spots here. Here we go. And that's one of the best ways to save money. And that's on your car. Car parts are expensive. It is not cheap to maintain your vehicle. And that's where eBay Motors comes into play. Passion, drive, and patience. It's what brings home the winning trophy, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. That's a guarantee, folks, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. You keep your ride or die, alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ryan, are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day?
No.
Well, when you do you have to turn down the volume with all that shouting that's going on?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, like, even when I watch the Warriors, like tonight, I got to be honest, Tim Roy's my guy. So, no offense to the TV guys, but I like listening to Tim. So I actually like sync it up, but I'm a little bit on delay because I'm watching through my computer. But I love listening to Tim syncing them up with the television.
Absolutely. Well, if you're sick of all the shouting and the yelling and on the major players in sports media, make the switch to Locked On Sports today. It's a free 24/7 streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And again, you can follow Ryan Leong. He covers the Warriors among many teams. Baseball's around the corner. You're probably going to be at AT&T Park a lot, but you also cover the Warriors. You hear Ryan's voice regularly behind the scenes asking Steve Kerr and other players questions for AP Radio and then some. Follow Ryan on Twitter at Ryan Leong. Ryan, Moses Moody. Oh, first of all, I asked you a question whether or not the Warriors would actually be better off playing their play-in game in LA. Is that foolish? Is there some truth to that? Your thoughts?
I think it's a little foolish. You could never take what happens in a regular season and say that it applies to the postseason. I'll give a baseball example here, okay?
Please.
A long time ago, maybe he regrets this decision now. This is a baseball analogy, but Matt Williams was managing the Washington Nationals, and he had a really good pitcher, and he used the same strategy to manage against the Giants in the postseason, and it backfired on him terribly. Helped the Giants, helped them win their third World Series in 5 years when they won 2014, but the Nationals were actually a better team, but Matt Williams mismanaged that, and I think the same kind of thing applies here. Don't coach a team in the postseason based on how they played in the regular season. So I think the Warriors could find their mojo all over again in the playoffs and end up using Chase to their advantage because they have won a title there now. So you can't say that's a building where they can't win.
That's true.
Because obviously they've proven that they can. So I wouldn't go too far to – and I got to think – I think personally you don't want to play on the road. I mean, if you can play at home in front of your fans, you got everything at your disposal. You got your home facility. You get to sleep in your own bed. I mean, you got to drive your car, however you get to the arena, to the practice facility. I just think there's so many more advantages to playing at home.
No, wholeheartedly agree with you. And again, even though you're absolutely right, even though the regular season is showing that the Warriors are a superior road team, again, they're now 21-15 on the road this season, just 18-19 at home. You want the comforts of your home confines, absolutely. The LA Lakers, again, just a game and a half ahead of the Warriors now, just one game ahead in terms of the loss column. They played an extra game so far this season, thus the extra half game. And the Warriors are going to make that up when they play the Mavericks next week to make up that game that they suspended when their assistant coach, Dejan Milojevic, passed away unexpectedly. Again, which is crazy. All part of just an unbelievable season. A roller coaster ride of a year. I mean, talk about parabolic swings going up and down in terms of emotions, events. So I'm looking at the schedule for the Warriors right now in terms of what's left. 9 games remaining. 5 of those are at home. I'm sorry, 5 of those on the road. They have 4 home games left against the Mavericks. That one is coming up on Tuesday. That's the makeup for the game that they postponed. They play the Utah Jazz at home. This is on Sunday, April 7th. And they finish the season with 2 home games at home against the New Orleans Pelicans, who are playing lights out, and then the Utah Jazz. They have road games remaining against Portland. They better win that game. They have 1 more game left against the Lakers. That's going to be a huge one. That's Tuesday, April 9th. So it's a week from Tuesday. They played the Jazz at home before that. And then right after they play the Mavericks at home this upcoming Tuesday, they're back on the road for 2 more games. It's a Texas swing. Originally, this was supposed to be one massive long road trip that would have concluded with a 3-game Texas swing, but instead they're going to play the Spurs. Then they come home. I believe that's how this went. They play the Spurs, then they come home, play the Mavericks, then they play the Rockets on the road. That's a huge game as well. Then they play the Mavericks again on the road. What are you thinking when I just read off the schedule to you? Anything? Does anything concern you in that 9-game stretch? How are you feeling about that, Ryan?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm looking right now when I look at, I mean, of course, the ones coming up ahead. You got San Antonio, then you got Dallas, Houston, and then Dallas again. So that's what I'd be kind of concerned about is playing Dallas twice and Houston in that stretch of, was it 3 games and 3 nights or something like that? So
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be worried about those games for sure. I mean, Utah's been eliminated. That's a home game for the Warriors. But again, I mean, nothing's a sure thing with the Warriors at home, and they tend to play down to the level of their opponent, and that's a bad thing. So hopefully they can get around that. But yeah, I would say some of these games for sure, at least the road games, they got some pretty good opponents that are on the schedule. The home schedule, not so much, but again, at this point, I don't think it really matters. The Warriors just have to look at every game as a win, and if I were them, I would kind of approach it like an NFL schedule, right? It's like when you're playing in the NFL, you can't lose games, and you just got to focus on that game, win that game, and then move on to the next one.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the Lakers, meanwhile, they're scheduled to wrap things up. They got 8 games. No, they have not. Sorry, I'm so sorry. They have 8 games remaining. 5 of those on the road, 3 at home. The 5 road games are at Brooklyn, at Toronto, and at Washington. Those 3, I mean, the Lakers should win at least 2 of those 3, and maybe all 3 against the Raptors, but who knows when you're on the road, right? Then the Lakers come home. They play the Cavaliers. They play the Timberwolves. Then they play that huge game against the Warriors on Tuesday, April 9th, which could determine who gets the home game in the play and who plays on the road. And then they finish up the season on the road at Memphis and at New Orleans. So that's who LA has left. Any thoughts there, Ryan?
No, I mean, again, you really can't worry too much about what the people or the teams that are doing that are chasing you. I mean, you just the Warriors just got to focus on themselves. Don't even worry about the other teams because they still control their own destiny. You know, the way it is right now. It's not like they have to get past Houston. Houston has to get past them. So
true. That is true.
The earlier scenario that we were talking about, worrying about could the Warriors make it up to the 6th seed? Well, that's impossible, right? At this point,
that's
the best they can hope for, I think, is 9th. But it just looks like the way it's going to go. More likely, they'll just finish 10th where they're at. Although, because the Lakers right now, as it stands, have a 2.5 game lead on the Warriors. So
1.5. But
the 1.5. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm looking at NBA.com. It hasn't been updated yet. So, again, I just think if the Warriors take care of their own business, don't do a lot of scoreboard watching, don't do a lot of standings watching. Just focus on your own business. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Absolutely. The 8th seed is even now out of reach. The team above the Warriors and Lakers right now are the Sacramento Kings, who lead the Warriors by 4 in the loss column. So that's kind of become out of reach at this point. Speaking of the Kings, by the way, I mean, talk about a precipitous fall for them. They were the 3 seed last year. They're down to 8. They're most likely going to be in the play-in now. So how fast things turn in the NBA and in the world around us. When we come back, we're going to give Wiggins and Moses Moody their due because they had fantastic games tonight. We're going to bring in intern Karl for Karl's Minute and finish up the show again, just being positive because the Warriors have won. What is there? Is it a 3-game winning streak? Where are we at right now with them? The Warriors have, this 3-game winning streak all on the road. They've won 6 of the last 10 now. And their net rating is interesting. Like they're actually a +2.1 on the year, which is good. I mean, when you compare it to teams above them, the Lakers, their net rating on the season is even. That means they've neither outscored nor been outscored all season long. That's how average of a team they are. The Kings are just +1.0 in net rating. So the Warriors are ahead of them. So anything could happen in the postseason. And look, if Wiggins plays like this, and if this is not some anomaly where he's lighting it up because they play the Hornets or who knows? The point is, if this is the Wiggins we get in the postseason, anything could happen. You can have some hope. And we'll talk about that in just a moment after we give some love to our second round of sponsors for this evening. And first up on the agenda is Nissan. I like car commercials. I don't know why, but I do. And more specifically, what we're talking about with Nissan here are their terrific line of SUVs. And look, if you're the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further, or if you ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner, our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. The 2024 Nissan Rogue. It's perfect for city drives and great escapes. It's class exclusive. Google built in as your always updating assistant to call on for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. And the Nissan Pathfinder, a car I used to own and drive and love, has room for up to 8, an expansive cargo capacity, and advanced availability for 4x4 capability with 284 horsepower and up to 6,000 pounds of towing. When adventure calls, the Pathfinder is there to answer. So take the Nissan Rogue, the Nissan Pathfinder, or the Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. And today's episode is also brought to you by Amazon, and more specifically, the Amazon Fire TV. There's an overlay for that. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games, the highlights, the in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV Stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. And Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels lets you dive into all of the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on all the latest in the world of sports, whether it's March Madness, NBA, Major League Baseball, and so much more, not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. I have a Fire TV myself. To learn more, visit amazon.com/lockedonfiretv.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. For the everydayers, we're back at this Sunday, as Ryan Leong just mentioned a moment ago. It's Warriors and Spurs. Victor Wembanyama, who's already showing tremendous growth in just his rookie season. It is scary what is to become of that kid in just a few years from now. But until then, we're live right now with Ryan Leong of AP Radio. You can follow him on Twitter at Ryan Leong. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, on Threads at Dog Wild. We're going to bring Karl in just a second for a new edition of Karl's Minute, but got to give some love to a couple other players first who played lights out basketball tonight. Fantastic ball. First up, Andrew Wiggins, 7 of 17 from the field, 2 of 6 from beyond the arc. But what sticks out to me statistically, besides the fact that for the second straight game, he scored 20 or more points, first time all season, he grabbed 8 rebounds, which is huge. He also dished out 8 assists. He's been fitting in more in the playmaker role these last few games. Finishes the game again with 20 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. He looks like he's in the best shape that I've seen him in a long time. You could see it just from the definition on his arms and his shoulders. He's looking good, Ryan. Your thoughts?
No, I agree. I mean, he's definitely looked a lot sharper out there. He doesn't look so he looked like he was kind of like I would say maybe timid or just like unconfident. He didn't look like he had the right amount of confidence when he was playing, and he definitely looks like he's, you know, I think maybe something clicked in his memory that, you know, hey, I'm an NBA veteran. I've been a good player in the past. I mean, of course, you know, I think his best days, of course, when he was with the Timberwolves, but he's a good player still. And I think maybe the last 2 games he's kind of showing that again, because I think for a while there he just didn't look like he had a lot of confidence in his ability.
Yeah, and it's a relief to see him back. Moses Moody. This is a player who I've been in his corner since he was drafted his rookie year. It was starting games in their postseason run where they won a championship. Him and Kuminga both. And he was in a bit of a shooting slump. Snapped out of that tonight. Blew out of that tonight. 5 of 8 from the field. But more importantly, he was 4 of 5 from beyond the arc. 15 points in this game. 4 rebounds. We saw an aggressive version of Moody tonight. I love this kid. I hope next season his role is drastically improved, and by improved I mean bigger. We're seeing a prominent role for him. What did you see tonight, Ryan? Anything stick out?
The thing I noticed most with Moody was just the fact that looked like his shot was falling, which was good for him. I mean, he's had some games where he really struggled. Not tonight, of course. I mean, 5 of 8 from the field, 4 or 5 from 3. That's a solid game for him. Mm-hmm. You know, and he doesn't, again, as you noticed, or as you mentioned to me all the time, he doesn't get a lot of playing time. So when he does get the opportunities he doesn't, you know what I mean? It's like he has to succeed, or he finds himself maybe in the doghouse with Kerr. So for him to actually be in a game where he produced well and he was a solid contributor, that only helps for the next game.
Yeah, let's. I hope he gets more of a run, man. He's a good player. And speaking of a good run, intern Karl Bernal, how you doing, kid? You doing good? How's life? And what's new before we get into Karl's Minute?
Life is good. Went to Vegas last week for the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament. Played some craps. Got this hat because I rolled 19 rolls in a row. So I'm
wow. Great. Bravo. Look at you. All right. So what's on the agenda for Karl's Minute? Once a week, you come on the program. As an intern, you're learning how this whole operation works. And you also get your own minute of coverage, if not more. So take it away, sir. What is on the agenda for this week's Karl's Minute?
All right. Thanks, Cy. This week, I want to talk about every Warriors fan's favorite topic, Draymond Green. Ooh. After over 11 years of highs and lows, I believe we're coming to the final crossroads. We know why he's been given grace by the Warriors. 4 championships, 4-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 8-time All-Defensive Team, and 1 Defensive Player of the Year award. But we've also overlooked the clothesline, the chest stomping, the headlock, the back kicks, the neck kicks, the nut punch, the teammate punch, the college football player punch, the Snapchat nudes, calling refs the B word, calling refs the MF word, and worst of all, the subpar podcasting. And we kept forgiving him. But now he has done the one thing that I will never forgive him for, making Steph Curry cry. Steph Curry and his beautiful soul must be protected at all costs. The problem, though, is that we're stuck with Draymond for at least 3 more seasons. The only way the Warriors are getting out of this is if Draymond pulls a shiv out of his shorts and stabs someone mid-game. And that might only get him a flagrant 1. So all we can do now is just ride it out with him and hope he doesn't break Steph's heart yet again. Thank you.
That's a beautiful take. Ryan, your thoughts on Draymond, man? He almost got into it tonight. He was being baited by Grant Williams. Thankfully, did not take the bait. But that last game was a little embarrassing, man. And when like you said, Carl, when Steph is starting to get emotional over it, you know it's taken to a level that's clearly unacceptable. Ryan, your thoughts on what Carl just said about Dre?
No, I mean it's a little embellished, but I would say it's pretty much right on the money. I mean, I think a lot of us have gotten to the point where we just try to tolerate Draymond because you're still stuck with the guy. So you take the highs and the lows with the guy, and it's unfortunate, but that's really there's no other solution right now.
Yeah, and
you just hope that he doesn't get himself ejected because I mean Steph had to put the team on his back after Draymond got ejected in Orlando. What was it? He fouled out within 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah,
I mean, he got ejected 4 minutes into the game. That's ridiculous.
Correct.
So he's a burden on the team. I mean, I don't know the way to put it, but again, the team's stuck with him and they're stuck with Draymond. So they just have to deal with him the best they can and just hope he doesn't get himself ejected for more games and takes on these crazy technicals. And at least tonight they escaped. So hopefully he can carry it on to San Antonio, and you hope it just builds on and he can just avoid getting teased because those technicals add up too, right? If you get 16, you get ejected a game, and and then you have to sit out a game. So how many tees is he up to now? Do you guys know?
I don't have that number in front of me. Carl, do you have that?
I don't.
I'll try to find it.
Hopefully, he doesn't have more than like 9 or 10 because, like I said, I think he gets 16. So, but yeah, he's just, he's kind of a headache. But what are you gonna do?
He's got 10.
He's got 10. There you go. So he's got 6 more to go.
Well,
I don't know, man. Hopefully
I'm seeing here 12. According to ESPN.com, he has 12 on the season. I don't know. Where'd you see 10, Carl?
Sporting News 1 day ago got picked up as 9th and 10th against the Magic.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I'm just, again, ESPN has been wrong before, so who knows? But, Carl's seeing 10 from a Sporting News report. I'm seeing 12 on ESPN regardless. I believe he's also 8 shy of the all-time record, which is held by Rasheed Wallace, which is insane. Look, to me, you could forgive it if he's still producing. But the fact that he's only had 1 triple-double in 3 years, that's a little disappointing because he used to be a triple-double machine. His stats tonight, he contributed. He played well. I like him better in the power forward role. He played 28 minutes. The threes are not falling for him anymore. He didn't make any again today. 8 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Did have 3 turnovers. Chris Paul had 4, by the way. Chris Paul had 11 points, 9 assists in this game, 7 assists. But yeah, I'm totally with you. I mean, the fact that he's under contract for 3 more years after this is absolutely insane. I just hope he still produces. What I fear the most is, I don't know if you two agree, I fear that his performance level will just plummet, but then you're still owing him $50+ million over 2 years. That's not a position the Warriors want to be in. So we'll see what happens. But then Rocky,
I got a quick question for you. If
wrap it up. Yeah.
If Dre breaks the all-time technical foul record, do they stop the game, drop confetti, and have a ceremony?
Hardly.
And look, Rocky Grew is right, though. I mean, all 4 titles, they're not getting any of those without Dre. But the team also does need to explore a future without him. I mean that he's not getting any younger. He's 34 years old. So yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. But hopefully he won't cost him games anymore. Gentlemen, thank you, Carl. You nailed it. Ryan, you're amazing. Thank you as always for contributions. Everyone have a happy Friday night. It's the weekend. get some sleep, have fun, do whatever you folks do that is, maybe puts a smile on your face. Warriors won. That's a good thing, right? I think. Bye, everyone. Thanks.